Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on meeting minutes. My name is Carly Orlando. I'm a Senior Success Coordinator here at UDA Technologies, and today I'm joined by our VP of Growth, Holly Gibson.
Hi, everyone.
For those who are new to us, Construction Online is our award-winning estimating, scheduling, and general project management software currently serving over 950,000 construction professionals. So we're really excited to have you today. It is going to be our first look at our new meeting minutes feature that we are releasing. So we are super excited to bring this to you. It has been highly requested from several of our clients. So we're really eager to go ahead and get started showing it for you. Today we'll be going over different things like defining meeting agendas, action items, how to invite attendees, set reminders. We'll also be going over how you can record those meeting minutes and you can print and share those meeting reports to distribute once you're done with your meetings.
Sounds great, Carly. Yeah, we have a lot of ground to cover, so a couple of reminders as we get started. You are welcome to submit questions using the Q&A feature here on the webinar, so we'd love to see any questions that you have. We do have 30 minutes or half an hour set aside for our webinar today, so we'll get to as many of those as we can and be sure to follow up with you personally on any of those questions that we can't get to. But I'll go ahead and answer what is usually our most popular question during these webinars, which is, are you recording today's session? And we absolutely are. So we are recording the webinar today and we'll make that available on our website usually later this afternoon, so should be out pretty quick. And we'll also email that out to you all later as well. So feel free to send those questions over and, we can go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, so Holly, starting from the beginning, what are meeting minutes in Construction Online?
Yeah, it's a great question, Carly. And, since this is a brand new feature, it's a really good place to start. So, meeting minutes are really designed to help our Construction Online users create a central and organized workflow for handling and tracking their construction meetings and other meetings around their projects as well as around their company. So it was designed to be easy to use, easy to be also, actionable. So we want it to be something that you can use easily, but also, really be able to organize and follow up on those meetings. So the goal would be really to use the meeting minutes feature to help you in all phases of the meeting. So prior to the meeting, you'll be able to plan better meetings, define those agendas like you had mentioned earlier, capture and document key decisions that are made during the meeting. So a big part of meeting minutes is, of course, being able to actually record those meeting minutes during the meeting, take note of important things that were discussed, and then, of course, document and assign any action items or follow-up tasks that need to be done after the meeting ends. So it's really designed to be a complete system for managing before, during, and after of all of your construction meetings.
Yeah, and as a success coordinator, I work with a ton of companies who do those construction meetings on a regular basis, so I can really see how there would be a lot of benefit for them. So I see that you have the meeting minutes page pulled up, and it looks like there is quite a bit that we can go through and dissect. So tell me what you can about this page. What are we looking at right now?
Absolutely. So, what we're looking at right now is my sort of meeting central in my account. So, just like a lot of tools in Construction Online, meeting minutes are available and organized at the project level, but you can also see a combined view across the entire company. So, what we're looking at right now is for my construction company, all of the meetings that I have scheduled currently across all of my projects. So I can see those listed here below. There is a calendar view up top that's just showing me this week, so I can quickly see what meetings are happening this week. And then in this area below, not only am I seeing what meetings are listed, but I can see the date and time, what the location is for each of those, what project it's related to, And even things like what stage it's in or what type of meeting it is. So I can see a lot of information about the meetings just on this one page if I want to get that bird's eye view of what we have in the system.
Now, does this chart go ahead and act like the other dynamic tables in Construction Online? Can you go through and organize them to better fit your personal workflow?
Yeah, of course. So we did build this using the dynamic table system. So if we wanted to organize these by the name of the meeting or perhaps what project it was related to, we can use any of those sorts there at the top of these column headers. You can also take advantage of that group by view if we wanted to create groupings, perhaps based on those projects. So all of those same really functionality touches that people have, come to depend on when organizing their information in Construction Online will be available for meeting minutes as well. Now, you can see from my list that I have, a lot of data here. So, for some of our users, they may, have one regular meeting a week and that's it. Others are going to have a ton of different meetings, a ton of different varieties. So there are a lot of use cases here.
Do you want to go through and show us kind of an example of one of the use cases you've built out so people can get an idea of how they can use this in their own day to day?
Yeah, great idea. Absolutely. So you can see in my list here, I have different types of meetings. So I have, a safety meeting, a progress meeting, design meetings, project review meetings. So there's all sorts of different types of meetings that we can, set up and manage. I'll go ahead and choose one that's scheduled for tomorrow. So if I just click on this weekly progress meeting, we can take a closer look at how a meeting would be organized within the system. So one thing I want to point out when we're looking at the meetings is, you know, this meeting is organized, of course I have my meeting agenda and I've created here different agenda categories as well as agenda items for us to cover to keep my meeting on track. So for this particular meeting, I have one category is to review our project timeline. So as we scroll down, I can see that during that section of the meeting, we want to review work that's been completed. We want to do a 2-week look ahead. We want to talk about potential changes or impacts to the schedule. Continuing to scroll down, I have a category for budget review in the meeting, any design decisions, as well as any items related to risk or compliance that we want to discuss. So that's how I've laid out my agenda here. And then also, a couple of other things to point out on this page. I can see the response status for my attendees. I am able to add attachments to the meeting as a whole here. And then I can also take a look if I've entered an address that's going to display on the map. So the meeting location will be noted here. And there's even a place to add like a Zoom link or a virtual meeting link. So, if all or part of the attendees are going to be joining virtually and there is like a link or a passcode associated with the meeting, that can be included in that setup and that's going to display on the page here as well.
I can definitely see that attachments feature being really useful for a lot of the clients that I speak with. They may have different things that they want to review, whether that's a client binder or maybe different things and specifications that they want to go over as part of their meeting agenda. So I could see that being a really big benefit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that I like about how the attachments are set up here is that I can add attachments just here at the meeting level, but I can also add attachments for any of my agenda items. So if I, wanted to just add an attachment specific to maybe reviewing work completed in the last week, I might want to upload a daily log report to this section. So I can upload an attachment to a specific item, or I can upload it to be part of the meeting as a whole. So there's a ton of options in terms of how we would, organize the information and just make sure that all of the materials that are needed to keep the meeting running smoothly and efficiently are included as part of that setup.
So, almost like if you were going to have a safety meeting, you could bring up specific safety logs if you have custom
That's
safety
right.
logs and attach those there for you to easily review any incidents or violations.
Yeah, absolutely. So any of those things, any sort of document or photo or, printout or report or anything like that can be just attached really easily throughout the meeting. And of course, like with this one, one thing I'll point out here is like for this meeting, it's not a super long meeting, but I do have it organized into different sections. Some meetings are going to require this. Some are not. So like if we take a look at my safety meeting, I only have one section, just safety meeting, and then I have a few items on it. So we're going to do a quick status update. We're going to go over our toolbox talk, and then I'm going to confirm attendance. As of right now, this is my only section. So you can really level this out, and create all sorts of different sections if you need to. But if it's a pretty simple meeting, you can also just, have one section, put your items on there, and be good to go.
Gotcha. So tell us a little bit about how our users can go in and create different meetings.
Yeah, so back to, and I'd love to show that functionality. Back to something I mentioned earlier. The meetings feature here is designed to be easy to use. So meetings can be created right from this page. I'm actually going to just jump into maybe one of my projects just to show what that looks like, and we'll create a meeting there. So if I go into say this project and I'll jump over to my meetings. Now I'm just looking at a list of meetings for this particular job. So if I wanted to add another one, I will just click to add a new meeting. So super simple. And you'll notice that, like many of the other tools you're used to using in Construction Online, you can create a meeting from scratch or from a template. So from scratch just means all of that information that we just looked at is going to be built specifically for that meeting, or you can save any of your existing meetings as templates or set up templates to use, which really gives us a great head start. So I'm going to use the template option just to speed us up. And you'll notice that I have templates set up for, different types of meetings. So I'll just include this project review meeting. Go ahead and click next. And then a lot of those details are going to start to fill in. So really at this point, it is just a matter of filling out the relevant details for the meeting. So I'll go over a few of those. Of course, every meeting is going to have a name, and we can give it a description. We'll choose, which project this is related to, if that applies, and then add that virtual meeting link in. Probably one of the most important pieces of information for the meeting is the date and time. So we would want to just choose, hey, when is this meeting going to take place? So we'll put this for next Monday at, 11 a.m. And then you can set up repeating meetings. So if you have a weekly or monthly meeting or something like that, that can be activated. You can choose the frequency of the meeting, and create, a whole year's worth of meetings at one time if you choose to do so here. And then we'll fill out some additional details about the meeting location. And I'll just go ahead and put this to be at my main office here. And then that also is a customizable dropdown, so it gives some great reporting options. On the next step, we're just going to confirm the mode and stage. So meetings are always going to be starting off in agenda mode. This is when we're defining the agenda. And then for stage, we could either have the meeting set as a draft or scheduled. Usually when you're creating, you would choose one of those two.
Can you tell me a little bit about the difference between agenda and minutes mode and what those are designed to do?
Sure. So we'll definitely take a look at minutes mode in just a little bit as well, so we can see that more closely. But with agenda mode, the idea is that we're setting up the meeting structure. So that's where we're adding sections and items to our agenda. Whereas minutes mode is what we're going to use when we're actually in the meeting, adding those meeting minutes to each of those agenda items. So they just kind of pull different things to the forefront there, depending on the mode that you're in. Now, this is where we would add our attendees. So if I want to, go ahead and invite different people to the meeting, I would do that here.
So I love this feature that you can invite people and see their attendance status. Now, when you invite them, what does that look like on their end?
Yeah, so they are going to get an email on their end that makes it super easy for them to respond. So once we get this meeting set up, we'll go ahead and take a look at what that invite looks like, just so you can get a peek of that as well.
Perfect.
Now, you'll notice for this meeting, since I am using a template, my agenda categories and items are already set up here. But if I did want to add, you know, specific items, like for example, here I have a section for covering outstanding RFIs. If I wanted to add a couple of specific items to this section, I could do that. And then on my last couple of steps, I'm going to be able to add attachments or set reminders. And then we'll just go ahead and hit create to set that meeting up. It'll get added into the system. I'm not going to add this one just because I have already plenty of meetings. We'll go ahead and dismiss that. Got a lot of meetings set up in here, so I don't want to make 50 more, but super easy to just step through that creation process. Now, let's see, someone's asking just really quick, just showing again how to find the area to create a new meeting. So I will slow down just a moment here and say, okay, when you're inside any project, if you go ahead under feature, there will be a new section called meeting minutes. And then you'll choose that meetings area, and then we're just going to pick to add a new meeting. Now, one quick note, since this is a first look or preview, the meeting minutes feature you won't see that in your account if you're trying to follow along. It will actually be, we are planning for a release on Monday. So you should see that in your account next week. You will not, see that today. Okay, so you had asked me though, Carly, about what
Invitations.
people see. And I know that's usually a question, especially when communication is being sent out, or how easy is it for people to respond to these meetings. So I will show a quick example. So here I'll just pull up, I have one of my subcontractors, I have a Gmail account set up for them. So, what they see when that meeting invite comes out to them, they'll get an email that just notes, okay, invitation to a specific meeting. When they click on that email, here's what it looks like. And the great thing here is that they do not need to log into Construction Online at all. They're going to get this invitation. There are 3 buttons for them to click here: yes, no, or maybe. When they choose one of these, it is going to just simply open up a confirmation page for them. So they will be able to change their answer if they need to, but I picked yes, so it's going to default to yes here. If they want to add any notes or comments, they can do that, and then they'll go ahead and submit that confirmation. So really easy for them to confirm. They're not going to need to do anything complicated. Just click on the button in their email, click submit, they're good to go. And then you at that point will receive also an email confirmation letting you know what their response was and just showing any notes that they put in, when they were responding. And kind of what that looks like on kind of on your side or on this side of it is, you'll notice that when I am looking at my meetings here, I can see even right on this table, and we'll just go full screen, but I can see in this column my attendees and then the statuses. So I can see here that Jim has confirmed for our regular meetings while I'm still waiting on responses from others. And then of course, if we click into the meeting, I can see those same statuses on the meeting details page as well. Um,
Now, if they reply no, will it go ahead and show you in red, or is there some sort of visual? Okay, gotcha.
Yes. So let's say that we have Alan here replies no, that's going to show in red. There is an option for maybe. So, even if someone replies maybe, that will show. Just update just this one. And then I'm just going to see that reflected here. And I'll also see that reflected, back in my meeting chart here as well. So we want to make that really obvious when you're looking at the meeting in terms of, who all's responded, what those responses are, and really just make that easy to manage. One super quick note on managing those invitations is that you are able to add people into the meeting once it's set up. So, if we have this meeting and we want to go ahead and, add another person, we can do that. It will send them an invitation, but it isn't going to resend to everybody unless I click that button. Otherwise, it's just going to send to the new people that we've added.
So it seems like the attendees feature is really going to be helpful for not only establishing, hey, who is going to be at the meeting, but for keeping record of it moving forward. If you go back to a previous meeting, you'll be able to see, oh, Alan did not show up. But because he's able to put that reasoning in, you'll also be able to see why. Maybe he was sick that day or out of office. So that can also be beneficial.
Yeah, exactly. So it just allows them to add a little extra detail. And I know one question that we get oftentimes around sort of that process of managing people, inviting is what about reminders? But we do have those built in as well. So I'll take a quick look. We'll just pull that up here. But you do have the ability to set reminders for the meeting. I have a reminder set for this one to go out 1 hour prior to the meeting, but you could actually do it, a day before, 7 days before, or 10 minutes before. It's really customizable. So that'll be up to you. And just like all of the reminders in Construction Online, these can go out through email, or if you have the appropriate information entered, those can go out as a text as well.
Gotcha. Well, it looks like that's going to be a really useful tool. Do you want to show us a little bit now that we've gone over how you can build agendas and things like that? What about when the meeting is actually running? What options do they have for documenting how the meeting is going and what options are being covered during the meeting?
Yeah, great question. So if we jump into, let's see, let's go into one of these meetings here. I think I've added some minutes, but once we go into minutes mode, so you'll notice at the top here, this particular meeting is in minutes mode as opposed to agenda mode. And what that allows me to do, it will see these yellow boxes. This is where my meeting minutes are going to go. So these at the top, I've already added some minutes to these. So this is what it looks like once you add them in. While the meeting is progressing, to add the minutes, you're just going to click add minutes and a panel on the right comes up so that you can type the minutes in. And one thing I like about this particular setup is that I'm able to, add the notes here for my budget, whatever we're discussing during the meeting, I can add that here, but I can do that while I'm also still keeping that full meeting agenda in view. So it makes it really easy and friendly just to add those minutes in and kind of type while you're going along. I know some people like to do it during the meeting. Some folks like to do it, afterwards, but either way, it's a really friendly data entry. And if you do choose to do it during the meeting, it's a really simple setup to do so.
Gotcha. So that looks really, really useful. I love that you can go back and keep documentation. One of the biggest things I see with my clients is really just needing that documentation for what different meetings are entailing, what's being covered, and being able to go back and reference that in the future. It's a great way to do some of that liability mitigation if there was ever any sort of concern or question from your client or question about the contract of whether or not things are being fulfilled, having those meeting minutes in can really help you protect yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that can help, of course, this really, and I think Carly, that gets to the heart of like why this feature is so useful and kind of where it comes into play is like, of course, it can help you organize the meetings, can help keep things running smoothly. But ultimately, it is also about being able to provide that layer of protection for your business where we're really looking at that meeting, we're documenting exactly what was said, we're distributing those meetings after the fact so that everyone is on the same page. If there's questions about anything, those can get resolved very quickly. And that really becomes part of our official project records and official project documentation. Now, another thing that will really help keep things on track during meeting, during, kind of during a meeting is sometimes not only are we taking notes, but we establish that there are actions that folks need to take in order to keep the project running, related to whatever it is that we're looking at here. So you'll also notice that for each meeting agenda item, not only can you add minutes, but you can also create those action items. So if, here, maybe the action item is just, follow up on bids for change orders or something like that, we can do that. We can assign a responsible party. And then we can also assign a due date for that if we want to put that in, create, and that becomes, again, part of that official meeting record. So that's now an action item that can be tracked in the system.
Perfect. So, when you're done with your meeting, how can you print and distribute these minutes or the records of the meeting to your different people that were attending it?
Yeah, absolutely. So um, there are some, great like printouts that will be available. So, if we wanted to really, you can print the agenda and send that out ahead of time. Or, if you go through and add your minutes and you want to distribute those afterwards, then you can print that. And then of course send that out through Construction Online as well. And here's a couple of examples of what those look like. This first one uh, is the meeting we were just looking at. So it does have some minutes. So when you print these up, it's going to say, what the meeting is, of course, what project, what the attendance status of everyone there, and then also then we can see the full agenda complete with those minutes, and any action items are also going to be listed on this print as well. So it's really useful. I have also printed a design meeting here that I set up that is still pending. So it doesn't have any, doesn't have any meeting minutes just yet. And that's going to print just fine as well. It'll show my notes, but there's just no minutes to be included. So it really works well in either scenario. Now, one quick thing that I'll just show here is, um, of course, while we're in meeting minutes mode, when it comes to tracking that attendance, of course, we have, their response, whether they plan to be at the meeting. When we're in minutes mode, we are recording something different, which is whether they did attend or not. So I've already got these marked off. I had 4 attendees, 1 person wasn't there, but you can go and, of course, change those. That's easy to adjust. And then one final thing, while we're in this meeting minutes mode here as well, is that you also just have a general notepad. So, the agenda and the specific meeting minutes really work well for situations where we're covering things that are on the agenda. We want to organize our notes in that manner. But, if something comes up that you just want to take a quick note of, or maybe your meeting isn't quite as planned out, you haven't really set a huge agenda, but you still want to be able to just have a quick meeting and take some notes. There is a general notepad available for the meeting as well, so I can take down as many notes as I want to here. Those are automatically saving into the meeting record as well.
Wonderful. So, I know you said this comes out on Monday. I know we have a lot of people who are really excited for the feature. What versions can we expect to include the meeting minutes?
Yeah, great. Let's see. Great question. I was just scrolling through some of the other questions. I think we only have like 2 minutes left, so I'm not sure how many of these we will get to, but I think a lot of them we have already covered. So yeah, a couple of quick things about the release of meeting minutes. So meeting minutes is going to be our plan as of right now, is that meeting minutes will be released on Monday. So that's going to be Monday, July 21st. That is the slated release date. Of course, those things are always pending possible change. But as of right now, we're on a fantastic track and fully expect to have this out to you on Monday. Meeting minutes is going to be included in commercial team and business versions, as well as multifamily team and business versions. So that's who is going to get meeting minutes just kind of by default included with that version. If you have a version of Construction Online that does not include meeting minutes and you want to look at maybe adding it to your account or trying it out, please give us a call. We can definitely discuss. We actually have some great special offers going through August 15th. There's special pricing available on the Meeting Minutes add-on, as well as discounts available for upgrades and even new purchases for those commercial and multifamily versions. And of course, if you're a current customer and you're like, hey, I'm not quite sure, but I do want to try it out, we can absolutely turn that on as a trial for you, or even do like a personal walkthrough, show you around, answer some of your specific questions. So we'll have some great options, for getting started with that.
Well, that sounds phenomenal. Is there anything else that you can think of today that you would want to let people know with kind of as a final note about the meeting minutes functionality?
Oh, I don't know if there's anything final. It's such a great question, Carly, and I feel like, we've covered a lot of ground, but there's always, more to cover. There's so many different use cases, and we've had some great questions. One person here asked if you could upload a digital recording or additional attachments to the minutes, and you absolutely can. So while you're in minutes mode, you can upload additional things during the meeting. So there's um, all sorts of great questions or use cases that I can see folks kind of already thinking about. Someone asked if it would be available in the app. So, um, and it will not be available in the app on initial release on Monday, but that is underway currently. So it will be, in the mobile app as well very shortly. So that'll expand usage options for meeting minutes as well. So I think what I would maybe land on is that I think that with meeting minutes, and you mentioned this earlier, but it's definitely been a popular request over the years, especially for those of you with certain types of businesses where you're seeing a certain level of growth or a certain type of project really coming into the mix and needing a more trackable way of documenting those meetings. And so I think it's really super flexible, super easy to use, and something that people will be able to get, a lot of use out of. So I think that's where we will end. I know we're a couple of minutes over time, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up. But maybe the last thing I just want to say is like we definitely appreciate your attendance today and taking some time out of your day to join us and learn about new features in Construction Online. If you have questions that we didn't get to, or just other things that you think of later, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Carly directly, or really anybody on our team here is happy to help. So thanks again for joining, and hope everybody has a great rest of your day.
Have a great day, everyone.